Hello friends, welcome to Commerce tutorial. Welcome to Commerce Tutorials YouTube channel. So today I am going to explain you how we can do the journal entries. So if you want to pass the journal entries, then what we are required. So if you want to pass the journal entries, then the first and foremost thing, we need to classify the accounts, right? We need to classify the accounts based on their natures, right? Then what comes under this classification? We have three different classification of these, right? So the first one is the personal account, right? So personal account type classification. Second one is the real account type classification, right? And the third one, that is the nominal account, right? So every transaction, right, or everything that we need to pass the journal entries, then we need to first and foremost thing, we need to classify the accounts based on their nature, and those classifications are the personal account in nature, real account in nature, and the nominal account in nature. So whenever we are classifying accounts like this, then these accounts has their definite rules, and the rule is that as per the personal account, debit the receiver, right? So debit the receiver and credit the giver. Means, so from who is the receiving, we can debit that person, and from whom that we are receiving that same, then we can credit that person. Okay, so for example, Mr. A gives money. Mr. A gives money to Mr. B, right? So in this situation, Mr. B is the receiver. Mr. B is the receiver and Mr. A is the giver. Okay, so then as per the rule of this personal account, then we can debit the receiver. Means Mr. B can be debited and Mr. A can be credited. So, and another thing is, this personal account has three different classification, right? So here I will write classification of personal account, right? So this classification has again three different types. So the first one is the natural person, second one is the artificial persons, third one is the natural persons, artificial persons, third one is the representative persons, right? So while it comes to the natural persons, so all the human beings, right? So all the human beings can be treated as the natural persons. Examples are Ram, Rahim, Rakesh, Vinay, right? So like that we can take the example of human beings. Then artificial persons, they can be created by any law. They can be created by any law, and the examples of these are the company limited, bank, and any other entities which are created under any existing law. Okay, here law in the sense some rules and regulations. With the help of some predefined rules and regulations, we can obey all those rules and we can form a company or a bank or any other business organization, right? And another is the business organization. Okay, so all those things forms an organization. All these things are the forming part of artificial personal account. Then representative persons account. representative person. So all kind of outstandings, right? So here outstandings in the sense, right? So outstanding here, outstanding in the sense we need to pay to the persons. So those are the outstandings we can say here, and these are the outstanding salaries. Outstanding salaries, and the next one is the outstanding rent, right? So these are the few examples of the representative persons account. So when it comes to the natural persons like human names, artificial persons like any entity name, representative persons any outstanding, for all these three different categories we need to use the same rule. That is and the rule is the debit the receiver, credit the giver, right? So then next comes to the real account, and here the rule is the debit what comes in, debit what comes in, credit what goes out, right? Debit what comes in, credit what goes out. Then here what comes in the sense what comes in and what goes out in the sense, here this real account deals with the assets. Real account deals with the assets, and these assets have two different classifications. One is the fixed assets, another one is the current assets. Okay, so mainly we will focus on these fixed assets and the current assets. So there is another classification, that is the intangible assets. So those also taken part of a real account. Means when we are purchasing the assets, right? So the example is the purchase of machinery, right? So purchase of machinery by paying cash, right? Purchase of machinery by paying cash. So whenever we are purchasing the machinery, we will receive it into the organization, and whenever we are paying it, then the cash is the outgoing, right? So outgoing in the sense we can pay the cash to acquire the machinery. Then machinery is the comes in, cash is the going out. Then machinery is debited and the cash is the credited. So all sort of assets, either it is the fixed assets, current assets, or the intangible assets, we will take these. This is the rule: debit what comes in, credit what goes out, and based upon these rules we can pass the journal entries. And the last classification is the nominal account. So here the rule is debit all expenses and losses, credit all incomes and gains, right? So why we have taken expenses and the losses? So expenses and losses are the forming part of business transactions. We will take it as the expenses, and those which are part of irregular transactions apart from the business transactions, then we can take them as the losses, like sale of machinery. Okay, so then we can incur the loss or the gain, because sale of machinery is not our business transaction, that is the irregular transaction, but the buying and selling of goods and services is our regular transactions. So if it is the regular transaction, then we can take those as the expenses and the incomes, right? So and here the examples are, right? So salaries, rent, advertisement, and discounts, right? So etc. We can take the examples for the nominal account. So if we are clear about these concepts, that is classifying the accounts based on, right, based on their nature, if we able to classify like this for the personal account, real account, and the nominal account, then we can easily pass the journal entries without any difficulty or without facing any problem in it. But the only thing is, what we need to do first, we need to classify the transaction. classify the transaction based on their nature. Okay, so this is about the a basic thing to write the journal entries. So in the next video I will come up with so how we can journalize those transactions, right? By taking the help of a problem, I will show you how to journalize those transactions, then what is journal entries, right? Why it is important. All those things we can dealt in the next chapter, that is in the next session. Okay, so till then, see you, bye bye.